Hello, my name is Aaron Drake and I work for Caring Bridge. Today I'm going to share a few lessons from the field where decision records were useful. They helped us with team collaboration, reducing maintenance costs, and also simplifying our system. I'm going to primarily focus on a demonstration today of a couple of tools out of FINOS and the Linux Foundation, and incorporating where decision records tie into those tools. First of all, let me give a grounding on FINOS. FINOS is the FinTech open source foundation that is under the Linux Foundation. The tool that we're going to demonstrate later is called CALM, C-A-L-M, standing for Common Architecture Language Model. It's a description of an architecture of a system written in JSON, and it describes the associations between the entities in that system. At Caring Bridge, we came to use decision records recently through a particular use case, and I'm going to demonstrate how that decision record was built and then show the association to the architecture. Again, our team found it to be a very collaborative exercise, and we've since then used decision records in more cases across our platform. First of all, let me share a little bit about Caring Bridge, which is a nonprofit health platform, social networking site that was founded in 1997 and serves almost 250,000 visitors every day. Not only that, we process about $10 million every year in micro donations. For those donations, we use a couple of technical integration partners for the payment processing. This system has supported numerous caregivers who support a loved one in a health journey. The mission of Caring Bridge is to build a world where no one goes through a health journey alone. Through that, we support our platform. Where I'm going to focus the attention today is on a couple of scenarios where decision records were useful in my career. Primarily in FinTech and also in the healthcare social networking space at Caring Bridge. The scenarios I'm going to describe are: one was a decimal data type that needed to be used to do proper mathematical calculations with money. The second is a link shortener that we needed in Caring Bridge across our platform. That link shortener takes a long URL and packs it into a smaller profile so that it can be used in various ways. We'll see how that scenario, while looking quite simple at the surface, became something that was a lot more sophisticated. So now I'm going to drop in to Calm and show a little bit about how it works. As you might understand, Calm allows us to define architecture for our system. So this is something that would resemble a healthcare social networking site as a high level architecture. Where I'm going to focus the demonstration today is on the association to decision records in that life cycle of an architecture. So here at the bottom, we can see a couple of associated ADR records, architectural decision records. We've got a template, and then two decision records that I described earlier in the just as scenarios. So the first scenario, a decision record for the decimal type. So decimal type rather than a floating point type is very important in money calculations. This came up in my career as a discovery through a bug where there were some rounding errors in one of the services in our platform. That rounding error not only needed to be corrected in that bug, but it needed to actually be applied across the system as a coding standard. So I'm showing this example on the screen now just as a hypothetical decision record that might apply to an architecture to enforce a coding standard. across the system. But the important thing is often a coding standard might be written as a simple rule in a wiki or on some documentation space. The interesting thing that goes along with a decision record is it includes the context, the status, the decision itself, and the consequences of that decision. So even though it's a concise format, it provides a lot more context around the why that coding standard exists. The other scenario that I wanted to describe is really brought home at Caring Bridge as a scenario that came up that was actually the origin for how we came to use decision records, and also how that has actually become a pattern that we use at Caring Bridge. As I mentioned, it not only encouraged collaboration during the design process and our architecture, but it also reduced, in our case, the complexity of the solution that we ended up adopting. And the way I see it is that over time, we'll reduce the maintenance cost through less code and less complexity in our system. So here we have another hypothetical decision record for that link shortener. Again, this is one where on the surface, it seemed like something that was almost trivial, but as we dug into it, there was a lot of potential impact across the places that we use URLs in our system. For example, text messaging, email, on the web interface, when you copy and share a particular post or a particular site, and also in the mobile platform. So that shortened URL could potentially have an impact on all of those cases, and in fact, possibly break things if it wasn't done correctly. So that's the impetus behind that one decision record. So how does this fit in a bit more to Calm? There's an artificial intelligent agentic scenario that I actually wanted to describe as well. When you have a system that's a long-lived system where perhaps the decisions hadn't been documented, I was actually able to use Calm and the Calm agentic AI to basically reconstruct a timeline that we see here that can describe the architecture over time. So basically using open records and deep search with the agentic Calm AI, I was able to find information around the history of Caring Bridge that can then be associated in a timeline to the architecture that we might describe. So that scenario where we started adopting decision records, that's actually here in the timeline. And when I click it, I can see the association to the architectural diagram that I was describing earlier. So finally, I wanted to close with a question to the audience. My question is, do you use decision records? And if you do they make your solution simpler, more complex, or neither? And then finally, just wanted to give a thank you out to the Open Source Financial Forum in London this year, and just close with Caring Bridge, where our mission is a world where no one goes through a health journey alone. Thank you very much.